Okay, this is a reaction video. Now, I did the top 10 friendliest countries. This is the top 10 rudest countries. Now, apparently he did this one before he did the friendliest countries, since he mentions it in the video. But I did the opposite way. I did the top 10 friendliest countries, and that was quite interesting. I did not expect to see Mexico on there. Not that I have anything against Mexicans, but it was nice to see them on the list. Now, these are top 10 rudest countries. I don't know what these countries are. I don't know why they're so rude, or why they considered to be rude. But I predicted that France would be on this list. But, I've never been to France. And the only experience I know from France is from my brother and his wife. But let's see what this. And I actually did plan to go to France before the pandemic struck. I was just in that May of 2020. I planned to go there, but the pandemic made it different. So I would have had an experience all of my own. But let's see what goes on. The top 10 rudest country according to the world, according to Briggs.
On everyone, welcome back to the World According to Briggs and an international video. Today we're looking at countries where tourists say the locals are rude. I read a blog about this subject.
Yeah, and this is an opinion. This is not saying that if your country's on this list, that you are rude. And United States might be on this list. I don't know I don't think he excluded them. We may be on this list. I don't know.
Where a guy said every time he went to Germany, he ran across nothing but rude and unfriendly people. He listed a few other countries he felt were almost as bad as Germany, but he said Germany was the worst. So that got me thinking.
And again, my experience in Germany was completely different. I had a great experience in Germany.
And I ran a poll where I listed 40 of the most visited countries and asked travelers to pick the 3 countries they felt the locals were the most rude. I also listed the top 15 on a few different polls on the community section of this channel, and this is what we found. Number 10, the Greeks. Greece is one of
Now, I did a video that I haven't published yet about countries where Americans are not welcome. And this, I don't know if this is just meant for everybody in the world or just United States, people from the United States, but Greece was actually on that list. And the person there had their reasons. Now, some of the reasons that I won't go into a great detail in this video had to do with, because it was done during the Trump presidency, and a lot of countries didn't like Donald Trump. And like I said, that's, your opinion, you're entitled to it. But the Greeks said it was a country where where people from the United States were not welcome.
One of the oldest countries still going. They offer tourists ancient ruins, great islands, amazing beaches, gyros, and a steady helping of...
They're not called gyros, they're called euros. Not gyros, but hey, whatever. My brother's been to Greece and had a good time there.
F you, go back where you came from. Around 30 million people visit Greece every single year. The government and shop owners love that. The locals aren't always on board with it. They have a reputation of being rude.
Once in Greece airport, a passport control officer literally yelled at us and called us names just because we were standing in the wrong line, even though our employee told us before that's the right line. So that is weird. It's from Owlcat. Okay, yeah. Don't yell at people if they're in the wrong line. That's rude.
I don't think it's always as rude as people might think. A lot like here in the United States, Greece, they have a tendency to talk a lot with their arms and a little too close for American and, let's say, British standards. They get a little too close when they're talking. And I think a lot of Westerners or people from North America kind of view...
The shopkeepers in Greece were the worst. Had one guy tell us while we were deciding on what to buy, time is money, you buy or you go now. Come on.
This is them being rude. Now, granted, like all countries, they have some rude people that are just rude, but I think a lot of their reputation comes from that. 37% of the people surveyed had Greece listed as one of the 3 rudest countries. Number 9, the Turkish. Yeah, Turkey's got kind of a reputation for having rude residents. Like Greece, they have a lot of history going on.
And again, I don't know if this is just people from the United States or this is people from around the world doing this. Hopefully he clarifies that, but I don't know if, the Turks are, the video I was talking about that I haven't published yet, we're also on that list.
Here, Istanbul, which used to be Constantinople, played a big part in the Crusades. This is where a lot of the European crusaders passed through to go
Turkey for
to
sure.
the Middle East and cause all kinds of problems. I mean, Constantinople served as an imperial capital for almost 16 centuries. All the way back to the Romans, the Byzantines, the Ottomans, they all had this place as their capital. Turkey offers a lot more outside of Istanbul. They've got a lot of history here, a lot of great things to see. Turkey sees around 50 million visitors a year. Actually, in 2019, before the pandemic, they hit 52 million. So they see a lot of people going through here, and not everyone's on board with how cool they are there. 41% of the respondents had Turkey.
That's sad to know because, like I said, Turkey is, a lot of interesting things to do and see in Turkey.
As one of their 3 countries with the rudest locals. Number 8, Italians.
Now, this is another place my brother's been to, Rome, and I had a cousin who lived in Rome for 4 or 5 years and said he really, really enjoyed it. I can't. A lot of these I can't speak from experience. I can only speak from secondhand knowledge. And Italy got favorable reviews. My mother's been to Italy before. My mother and father both were in Italy, and they gave a very favorable impression of Italy.
I mean, how can these people be so rude? They got pasta, pizza, they got all the good food here. In my opinion, Italian food ranks right behind Mexican food. Yeah, that's just me. Maybe if I grew up
Maybe that's why they don't like us, because you like Mexican food better than you like Italian food.
in Europe, I'd feel the opposite about that, but Mexican food, then Italian food. That's how I see it. Italy has some of the most amazing cities to see. Think about it. Rome, Milan, Venice, Florence, San Marino.
Turin.
Marino, which actually isn't part of Italy, it's its own country. Yeah, most people don't know that
Italy, the only country I've been yelled at for not ordering an appetizer. Really? They yell at you for not ordering an appetizer?
Italy has a small country inside of Italy. It is San Marino, and it is east of Florence and south of Venice. Italy sees over 90 million tourists every single year, at least in the last 10 years. That's about what they see, over 90 million. That dropped down considerably during the pandemic years, but normally.
Maybe they're ticked off because they haven't made it to the past 2 World Cups. They didn't qualify for Russia, and they didn't qualify for Qatar. Maybe that's what's ticking them off.
Times
they're taking it out on the tourists.
See about 90 million people. And a good percentage of those people apparently think the Italians are rude. Italians actually have a reputation for being rude. I mean, they didn't invent the middle finger, the Greeks did, but the Italians, they sort of perfected it. In Milan, they actually have a statue of the middle finger pointing at the Italian stock exchange. Not even.
That's interesting. Maybe it's just how your country is. Maybe it's who you are. But like I said, my parents, my cousin, my brother, and his wife, they all had different experiences. They loved it.
I'm kidding. Here it is. For a country that invented banks, They really don't like bankers too much. 41% of the people listed Italians in their top 3 rudest locals.
Okay, so we have Greece, Turkey, and Italy. Okay.
Number 7, the Spanish. This one caught me by surprise.
Yeah, Spain was on the list for the one of the friendliest places. It's also on the list for one of the rudest places.
I know quite a few.
Now, maybe because you said that they don't have tolerance for stupid people or people who make fools of themselves. That's what you said in the other video, but
Spanish people. They've never been anything but friendly and nice. But apparently, if you're a tourist in their homeland, they're not too keen about it. I was reading one travel blogger, and he said that it's mostly the young.
And this is for both videos. If you haven't seen my other one, if you had experiences in foreign countries and other countries that were poor, including the United States, let me know. Put it in the comments below, please. Younger people, I should say, the 30 to 20 to their teens, they're the people that don't like a lot of tourists. The older people sort of like it, or at least they like the money that's being brought in from the tourists. I find this one a little strange. I don't know if it's accurate, from my experience, I should say. But apparently, if you go by the survey and the polls, the Spanish people aren't too keen on people coming to Spain. Spain sees about 70 million visitors a year, and 45% of the people surveyed had Spain as one of their 3. So far, Spain has made both lists.
Countries with the rudest locals. Number 6, the Chinese. Now, I couldn't tell you personally, whether this is correct or not. I'm going by the survey.
I know a lot of people. I know quite a few people who've actually visited China and said had a great experience in China. So this actually surprises me.
On this one, I've never been to China. I've
never been to China. Obviously, I've told a lot of people in my videos where I've been. I've been to The only countries I've been to is Bermuda, which I lived for 4 years, Germany, Canada, and Mexico, and I guess until the United States are there. I'd like to be a world traveler. I'm not a world traveler, but I do know a lot of people who visited other countries before, and I've heard good things about China.
Some Chinese people not very well, but the survey says that they're pretty rude to locals. I did a little reading, and apparently you go into the rural areas and they really like you. If you get in the cities and stuff, they're kind of rude and abrupt to foreigners. But the locals in the rural areas, they're almost happy to have you. 46% of the people surveyed had China as one of the 3 countries with the rudest locals. Number 5, Americans. Yes,
Oh, we made the list. Okay. We're rude. We're the 5th rudest country that, according to the tourists. Again, I don't think that way. I have generally been very favorable to people who I've met from other lands, but maybe we are. Maybe again, please let me know in the comments below. Obviously, you probably haven't encountered me, but if you've encountered a bad experience in the United States where they treated you poorly, yeah, let me know.
United States is number 5. I know a lot of people from other countries probably just gasp. How could they be number 5? Shouldn't they be number 1? No, we're really not that rude when you're coming here to be a tourist. I mean, if you end up in the wrong place, like New Jersey, you'll probably think differently of us, but for the most part, in most of the country, people are pretty decent in the tourist area.
You see a lot of places in the tourist area, a lot of foreign people come. Like, the most part of Chicago, I saw a lot of tourists there. I saw a lot of tourists at Niagara Falls, at Mount Rushmore, out in Los Angeles. You see a lot of tourists out there, especially in the Mann's Chinese Theater and that sort of places out there. But really, most people had a smile on their face, and I looked like they were having a really good time. And I hope if you ever come visit my country, you have a really good time. And hopefully you won't have the experience of being one of the top 10 rudest countries. That really bugs me to an extent, because I think we should make everybody feel welcome.
Not just New Jersey. You might want to add Hawaii onto that. Hawaii's not too keen even about other Americans coming to that state. Now, if you could...
Okay, what about Robin Vandenberg? America hands down, no need to debate. Joe Powell says the USA. Again, this embarrasses me somewhat, especially being an American from the United States who generally treats people very, very well. I've not had an argument with anybody outside my family and that I can recall.
Consider gun violence rude. Yeah, we're hella rude then, because we got a lot of that here in the United States, in case you don't know and you're from another country. That's like my advice to anyone coming to the United States from another country. Make sure you know where the dangerous neighborhoods are. I mean, any neighborhood has the potential.
Yeah, the United States has dangerous neighborhoods. If you go to Chicago, avoid the South Side. If you go to, I'm not going to start naming places because I'm not going to go down that path, even though I could. But yeah, know where the safe place, know where the touristy places are. And you don't have to necessarily stay in the touristy places. There are a lot of good places that aren't touristy that are still nice to visit. But just know where the bad places are.
It'll be dangerous, but we have some that if you don't know about them could be a serious mistake. So keep that in mind. You should know little things like go see St. Louis. The arch is neat and all that's really cool. Don't go see East St. Louis. Don't make that.
Right. He's going to pick up the slack for me.
Mistake. Go see downtown Detroit. Don't go outside of downtown Detroit and you'll be fine. Go visit Chicago. Just don't go too far south from what they call the Loop, which is the downtown area of Chicago. Things like that. 51% of the people surveyed had the United States as one of their 3 countries with the rudest locals. Number 4, Russians. Russia's another country.
Again, never been to Russia. Don't know anybody who's ever been to Russia, but this doesn't necessarily surprise me a great deal.
Country that has people that I think sort of get a bad rap. Because it's their culture and the way they do things, it doesn't jive with a lot of, especially...
Now, to be fair, I have met, even though I've never been to Russia, I have met Russians. They've had Russians come over to the United States, and there was a guy named Boris who worked on our floors at a place that I worked at, and he and I talked a lot of soccer, football, and I really, really liked Boris a lot, but he was a very friendly man. So I have an experience with a Russian individual who I really, really enjoyed talking with.
Western countries and their citizens. Russians are very to the point and very blunt about everything. There's
That is true. Boris was very blunt and to the point. No question about that.
no like gray areas with them most of the time. And they don't sugarcoat much when they're talking to you. So a lot of people
Okay, Russians aren't really rude. It's just their culture is very different from our customs here in the Western world. Yeah, I can understand that. Not showing much emotion is something that's always been part of their culture, and making small talk with people isn't something that they like doing, which is okay. Just be a nice person, respect the culture, and oblige by the rules, and you'll hardly ever have any issues with most countries. Russians aren't rude. They're like, they cut to the flipping chase. I like that. And as a Russian, I wouldn't say we are rude. Rather, we have a very unique culture. Yeah. Again, a lot of these probably have to deal with culture differences.
might think that's rude. The people that I know that have visited Russia, they're kind of 50-50 on it. Some say it was great. Some people say they were kind of rude and mean to them. So you don't know. But in the survey, 53% of the respondents had Russia as one of their top 3 countries with the rudest locals. Number 3, Germans.
Again, had a different response here. You know, Germany, were very friendly. I thought they bent over backwards during the 2006 World Cup. When I was there, I've met quite a few German people in the United States. Very friendly people.
Yeah, Germans are rude and everybody knows it. They can't help it. They got a little...
I didn't know it because I didn't have that experience. What are you talking about? Everybody knows it.
That Russian thing going too, where there's no sugarcoating anything. It's very blunt, very to the point, very matter of fact. And like I said in the Russian part, that Westerners find that a little abrasive sometimes. My experience with Germans has never been good. The ones that I know, the ones that I've talked to online, they're always seem to be rude. It's like their thing.
I studied abroad in Vienna and at the time spoke German pretty well. It was well known in our study abroad group that the worst cart vendors would charge more if you didn't order food in German. Well, okay.
I don't know what it is. One thing I've always heard over and over, and I kind of got that vibe too, they always get that thing where they think they're better than everyone else. Now, that's an opinion by a lot of...
Well, maybe they are better than us. I mean, I don't know. But like I said, a completely different experience for me. And maybe it was during the World Cup when I was there. But I've also talked to other people outside of the World Cup who were German, and they were very friendly to me. So, again, different experience. So if you're German and you don't agree with this, I'm on your side.
Of people, not like a fact. There's no arrogance metric, you know. Germany in normal years sees about 40 million tourists, and 61% of the people surveyed had Germany as one of their 3 countries that they felt had the rudest locals.
Now, I'm kind of curious because I think this was the third choice, and so we got 2 and 1. I got to think France is on this list. Okay, if I'm wrong and you're French and you see and you're not on this list, then by all means, let me hear about it. Let me know. But I got to think France is either 2 or 1.
Number 2, the British. Now, this is amazing.
Again, I've never been to England, never been to any of the British countries, England, Ireland, Northern Ireland, Scotland, or Wales. I've never been to any of those countries. But the majority of knowledge I know about England generally comes from the football culture, or from the watching English football and listening to some of them talk online, and I'm convinced that the British people have words. The way they say words is so much better than Americans do, and it is just more enticing to listen to the British speak than it does to an American. But that's just me. But I don't know if the British are rude. Haven't met quite a few. I haven't met a few. I've only seen like most of the British people I've seen on YouTube, and mostly they deal with football. But I'd like to go there. I'd like to experience it myself.
Because of all the people surveyed, the number 1 country of origin of people that said the British were the rudest were the British. Yeah, the UK says Britain.
I chose Britain due to the muggy, wet, gray weather. Well, the weather doesn't have anything to do with the people. Maybe not like it, and they take it out on you. I don't know. I don't like Russia, but it doesn't mean people are ruder than the typical British. Well, he chose it because of the muggy, gray weather. I mean, I don't know what that has to do with how rude you are. Maybe they're ticked off with the weather. Maybe that could be it.
British are the absolute rudest people in other countries. It's like these people know how they are and they just own it. I've always heard the phrase ugly Americans when they're talking about Americans going to other countries.
Same here. I had when I was in Germany, I do remember going through the line at a store. I was just going to get some water, and there was a couple of American husband and wife, I guess. Do you speak English? Do you understand it? Do you understand the words? You're in Germany. They may not speak English. They may, but they may not. Don't get loud because they don't understand what you're saying. I basically just waited till they left, bought my water. I said "Danke," and paid and went on my merry little way. But yeah, I've heard the term "ugly American" before. I know I've actually seen it happen before.
Countries and being tourists and how we're just rude.
I came across more rude people in England than I did in France, which absolutely shocked me. Well,
rude and stupid and everything else like that, but apparently it's the British are even worse than us. 63% of the people surveyed had the United Kingdom in their top 3 for rudest locals.
Now again, if you're from England, you're from the United Kingdom, and you don't think you're rude, let me know in the comments below.
All right, before we get to number 1, don't forget at the end of this video, we have these little things where the algorithm suggests other of my videos that you should watch. Why don't you click on one and see if the algorithm's correct. All right, on.
Okay, now, I'm predicting France is the number 1 here, okay? And if I'm wrong, I want the French people who watch this video to let me know about it and laugh at me because the United States is on this list and France is not. But if France is on this list, that's what let's find out.
On to number 1. And number 1, the French.
I was right. And I've never seen this video before. So, again, the only experience I have with the French are from my stories from my brother and his wife. And they were not too keen on French. But there is another channel, Walter's World. He has been to Paris, and he spoke glowingly of the French people. So, and I would have got a chance to experience this in 2020 if the pandemic hadn't hit. So I'm going to take the high road here and say that the French people have a bad reputation, and it's undeserved bad reputation. I think the French people are nice people. They have a great football club too, and I think they're going to win. I kind of think they're going to win the World Cup in 2022. I think they're going to win it 2 years in a row. Two World Cups in a row, not 2 years in a row. 2 World Cups in a row. And so, good on you, France.
The French have a legendary reputation for being rude. There have been jokes about how rude the French are since forever. Everybody knows it. It's in jokes. They do things about how rude the French are in movies. There was a movie with Dudley Moore years ago where he played an ad executive who had like a breakdown and started telling the truth, and he created an ad that everyone loved. It showed an Italian woman cooking some pasta and said, "Come to Italy, we're nice. We're not like the French." And it showed a guy with a beret flipping the camera off. So that kind of gives you an idea. Now, don't take that as an opening because I made a reference to a movie that shows how something's a stereotype. For some reason, whenever I mention a movie, that's like someone's defense. Oh, he's basing his opinion off a movie. No, that's called an antidote. My opinion is just like the rest of the world's opinion on the French. They're frickin' rude. They got some good wine, though. You gotta love their wine. In 2018, France saw 89 million tourists. Now, their target for 2020 was 100 million, but the pandemic kind of set that sideways.
And I would have been one of those tourists.
We'll see if they get their 100 million here in the next couple of years now that we're getting out of the pandemic. 71% of the people surveyed had France in their top 3 countries with the rudest residents.
Again, I've never been to France. I would have been to France in 2020. I would be able to speak a little bit more on this. But look, I've got nothing against the French people and nothing against France, nothing against any of these countries. The only one I've been to, apart from the United States, is Germany, and I had a great experience there. And I'm sure I would have had a great experience in France. But please let me know your experiences in the comments below. Please click like, share, and subscribe. Now you have the top 10 friendliest countries, top 10 rudest countries, and according to the world, according to Briggs. So thanks for watching. Please click like, share, and subscribe, and have a good rest of your day.